If you're someone who loves easy mods, then this video is for you, because today for $340, we're going to be turning an office PC that's already pretty good into a gaming PC using this. But first, a word from today's sponsor.
Attention PC builders, do you want to save money on your Windows activation? Well, today's video sponsor, GVG Mall, has you covered. An awesome online marketplace with game keys and also Windows licenses.
It's awesome how easy it is to activate Windows. You literally just buy a key on GVG Mall using code TB20 to get a really good discount, and from there, you literally copy and paste the key into Windows, and boom, you now have an activated version of Windows.
You can get Windows 10, Windows 11, and a bunch of other different keys at GVG Mall. And be sure to use code TB20 on checkout to save money on a Windows 10, Windows 11, or any other key from GVG Mall. Big thanks again to GVG Mall for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get into it, shall we?
So guys, this is going to be a super fun and super easy video because we already have a really good system here. This is a Lenovo M710S. This is a small form factor, sort of DT size system. It's very compact. You're able to fit a lot of hardware inside of this with minimal room, and that does come with some proprietary space, meaning you're not going to be able to really swap most of these parts over to a normal case later on, so keep that in mind. This is a more of like a very budget enthusiast level type build, and we do get a 210 watt Hunt Key power supply, which is an OEM specific, so it is a pretty safe to use unit, but keep in mind, you really don't want to get a graphics card that's going to require external power, which the good news is we got a low profile RTX 3050 that will only use around 75 watts that the PCIe lane can provide. And believe it or not, even with that i7 and the 3050, we will be a good amount under the threshold, even under full load in gaming, and we will have this hooked up to a watt meter, and we will report the wattage that we actually see, but just keep that in mind. For anybody who is very power supply worried, this may not be the build for you. But for 150 bucks on eBay, and this is very easy to replicate, we got this M710S that actually came with a 512 gig M.2. It came with 12 gigs of DDR4, so that's one 4 gig stick, one 8 gig stick, and it comes with an i7, which I don't even honestly remember which generation it is. We're gonna have to replace the thermal paste anyways to be safe, so we'll figure that out in just a minute. And this one even came with the little TP-Link Wi-Fi adapter, which I may have to move down, but that's all good, no big deal, because the low profile 3050 is a 2-lane card. So you're gonna need to make sure that you have enough room down here, which we got 4 full lanes to work with, and luckily, unlike some of the Dell Optiplexes, they actually put the PCIe up at the top for us. Alright, so for anyone who's still with me, let's go ahead and just dive right into this thing. There's not really a whole lot to talk about. We just want to go ahead and do all the mods that we need to get this thing up and running in tip-top shape and ready to game. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get this little cooling shroud off, which may require, we're going to go ahead, because we're going to need to lift this up anyways. To lift this up, there should just be, let's see, we need to actually take the front plate off. So, just like that, plastic front plate off, boom. You got that out of the way, and now we can lift up our shroud. So we're going to be replacing the thermal paste first. So you're going to have 4 PH2 Phillips screws on this cooler, which is a decent sized cooler. You know, it's a little bit larger than like a, like maybe 10th gen style Intel cooler. So, for an i7, you definitely could use a cooler upgrade, but you really don't get much room for that. So as you can see, this thermal paste, because I'm able to touch it and not really get any of my finger, we know that this is some older paste. I've definitely seen much worse, but it could use a little upgrade. So we actually do, in fact, have an i7-6700, which is a 4-core, 8-thread. It is DDR4 typically, but keep in mind that 6th gen could actually be DDR3 or DDR4, so we do need to fact check that. And let's see, we have, 2400T, so we do know that this is DDR4 RAM, so that's great. I'm really glad that we didn't get a DDR3 version, just because it wouldn't really feel as much of an upgrade. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take our thermal paste. We used just a rubbing alcohol swab, but you can really use a paper towel if you want to at home. And we're going to give a pretty generous amount of thermal paste just because this i7, we want to make sure that it runs nice and cool. This thermal paste also isn't the most runniest. We're actually using some fairly cheap thermal paste. It's kind of following me around. This stuff is not very runny like you normally want for thermal paste. You usually want stuff that's a little bit more viscous than this, but hey, it'll work. Once again, just trying to keep this as cheap as possible. We don't need to go out and buy any Noctua paste or Thermal Grizzly. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten this cooler down. You really wanna do the opposing corner tactic. So we're basically going to not tighten any one side down all the way, because for one, it causes unnecessary stress, and for two, you're going to end up squeezing out all your thermal paste to one side. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and snug each one down. Make sure that you did plug back in that fan connector if you happen to unplug it. So the next step is basically close to our last step. We just need to install our RTX 3050 low profile. This specific one is an MSI model. This does come with 6 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM. And as you can see, it's a pretty small card, but it is a pretty thick card. It's actually, I would describe it as a full 2-lane card. You're definitely gonna be using all of it. So we need to swap this bracket to a low profile bracket. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're going to swap over to a PH1 bit, and then we're going to be getting out our included low profile bracket, which really any new graphics card that's considered low profile is going to come with this bracket. You can always check the description to make sure. And basically, it just cuts down this bracket to half the size that it normally is. So yeah, pretty straightforward. It means exactly what it sounds like. I'm gonna go ahead and start off by taking out these little plastic grommets because these are going to be in the way. We're gonna take our PH1. Actually, we need a PH0. And sometimes these are really easy to do, but most of the time, I'm gonna be honest, they kind of make it a pain for whatever reason. But we're gonna go ahead, take off this front screw that's kind of right in the middle of the PCIe lane. And then as you can see, we have one more screw right here, and then we have one more down here. But to get to those, we may have to take off the shroud. Now this one here isn't gonna be a big deal. I'm gonna go ahead and swap over to the PH1 again. So just like that, we pull out this PH1 screw. All right, so now that we got this little bottom screw out, we're gonna go ahead and we need to get to this last screw right there. So what we need to do to get to that is actually take off the fan shroud, which, yeah, it's a little goofy, I know, but sadly it's kind of what you gotta do if you wanna make these low profile cards actually low profile. So we got a total of 4 screws. These you can use PH1 bit with. All right, we'll go ahead and flip it over. And just like that, the actual whole fan shroud comes off in one piece. And now we can get to our last little screw, which is right there, right in the end of my bit. Once again, another PH1. These are screwed in pretty tight too, so you might need to use a little force. All right, now we can go ahead and swap to our low profile bracket. So obviously I kind of recommend going in reverse order on the installation. So I'm gonna start off with the one that we just did. All right, to get that fairly snug, they really don't need to be that tight. Now we're getting that bottom one in, boom, just like that. So we're good to go ahead and put the fan shroud back on now. Make sure you put the same screws back in where you got them too. And now we just have that little last screw that goes right in here. And that's the one that's PH0. All right, check it out guys. We got ourselves a fully compatible low profile RTX 3050 now. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the next step, and this is where the mod comes in. So what we need to do is go ahead and open this bracket right here. We're gonna go ahead and pull out this little Wi-Fi card for now, which once again, really cool they included this because these things aren't super cheap by any means. So you'll notice that we're gonna go ahead and take out this extra cover here because we are gonna, this is a 2-lane card. So just one of these like that. And if you check it, we can actually go ahead and plug in this card, but you're gonna see the problem here in just a second. So card's plugged in. I'll even go ahead and show you guys. And once we get this lined up. All right, so we got our lane closed. All right, it's installed, it's good to go. But you got this one issue. When you go to put this down, you literally just have the ever so slightest interference. I mean, if this card was even an inch shorter, this would work just fine. But the issue is, we have this piece of metal here that is basically our hard drive, our speaker holder, part of our front panel, and so even the DVD drive. This is something that, of course, if you really wanted to, you could just leave it, you could get rid of it by pulling it out, but I want to use it because I want to keep this thing as stock as possible, so I'm going to show you guys how to easily modify this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a marker or some type of scribe, something to mark with, and we're going to mark just a little bit further than we need to in order to make this work. Because we're gonna do some slight cutting, and I'm gonna show you guys what tools you can use for this because you got a lot of options. Some of them you may have already just sitting around your house. All right guys, so I got the not so prettiest lines here because I'm just trying to just get this done quick, show you guys how easy it is. So first things first, we can go ahead, take out this hard drive cage. Next up, you might just wanna go ahead and unplug this just to kind of keep it out of the way, but don't worry, it'll plug back in just fine. This right here, not even really sure what it's for. It's a piece of foam, I assume, to case something you have plugged in, like an expansion card, is gonna hit or not. These right here are from Harbor Freight. These were $5. These are basically 10 snips. And although this is a little bit thicker than 10, it's gonna cut like butter, at least it should. So just to show you guys how easy it should be, go ahead. Oh yeah, Yeah, that goes through pretty easy. And these isn't gonna be the cleanest cut. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there now. We're not going for perfection here. We're going fully for functionality. So at this point, I got it pretty much cut up as high as I can get. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of bend this back and forth, which actually I think I'm gonna do one more little cut here. Let's see if we can, let's pull this up and see if we can get just a little bit higher, like all the way, because preferably I'd like to be all the way at the top. There we go. Come on, keep it clean, Jackson, keep it clean. Ugh. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bend this back and forth till it breaks off so it's out of our way. We're basically making like a stress fracture, a stress line, so that once we bend it enough, it'll break off. All right, so we got that broken off, but we do need a little more room. I only know this because I've done this before. Here we go. And we can also kind of use these like pliers, honestly. All right, so we're gonna bend these all the way up, just like that. And it's not gonna be the cleanest line, but it will be a line of the sorts. And obviously you can use a Dremel for this. You can use a cutoff wheel. There's other types of saws that can cut through this kind of thinner, cheap metal like this. Yeah, so at this point, I'm just trying to just get this last little piece off of here. And be careful, because this is going to be very sharp metal, especially after you've cut it. You really should use gloves while doing this, and probably even safety goggles if I'm being honest, because these metal pieces tend to want to fly when you're cutting them. And now I'm just going to kind of take this, just kind of bend it down a little bit with these just to keep it nice and smooth. So at this point, you can sand this piece if you want, or kind of maybe use a hammer, just kind of flatten it out a little bit, just to make sure that it's safe, because here's what the top looks like. Like I said, not the prettiest. Anything is a hammer if you're brave enough. Yeah, all right, you know, it's straight enough for me. So now, you'll notice when we take this over here, you guys ready for this? And check it. It actually closes all the way. And yes, not the prettiest, but it works really well. I've used a Dremel for this as well to get really clean cuts, but I just want to show you guys just how easy and cheap you can do this for with household tools, or if you don't have them, 10 snips are great to have around the house. You can use them for all kinds of really simple projects around the house, or even, you know, really complicated work if you're a mechanic. But anyways, we have our GPU plugged in. We're gonna go ahead and let's go back over here to our DVD drive, make sure that's back in all the way, kind of put this cable off to the side, and now we can fully close this unit, put our faceplate back on, and go ahead and get to gaming. But yeah, guys, check it out. This thing actually looks pretty good once you put the side panel on. This thing's gonna be a little bit of a sleeper on it, so you're not even gonna know that there's a graphics card and an i7 sitting inside of this $350 gaming PC. Let's go ahead and boot it up, get some games downloading. This already has Windows installed, tested, and activated too. That's kind of what I paid for with the 150 on this solid state drive, which is awesome. It's even an NVMe now that I'm looking at it, so we got a pretty good deal, I think, but let's go ahead and see what the gaming tells us. All right, guys, we are playing some Warzone 2.0, and this is a demanding game to kick the benchmarks off with. We're running the minimum quality preset. We do have NVIDIA DLSS on set to quality, which, you know, I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna change that to, let's go balanced, just because this is not an amazing PC to be running Warzone. But 1080p, let's go ahead and find our little droppy drop here. Markets always sounds like fun. But as you guys can see, off the drop, we're using all of our RAM. We're using basically our 12 gigs of RAM in Windows and Warzone, and we're getting around 60 FPS on drop. Definitely some stuttery mess here, but I suspect it'll balance out a little bit, but probably not a ton. Now that we've landed, we're basically just getting close to 60. So, you know, 3050 is a pretty good card, but obviously low profile. It does cut down on the performance a tad bit, and it is a little bit limited on VRAM as well, especially in a game like Warzone. This game loves VRAM and normal RAM. Oh, whoa. I should have not ran up like that, huh? Where did he go? Enemies dropping into the AO. Whew. So we got DLSS going. Let's try Ultra Performance to see what that does. It's probably gonna look even worse, but I mean, outside we get like, oh, that's not good, not good, not good. Oh, dude, I'm just hyped that we're doing this on an office PC. Oh my god, dude, that dude almost killed me. Oh, and this guy's gonna kill me though, don't worry. Come on. He should have not peeked that. I'm gonna die for that. Oh. man. I thought I pre-fired a little too early, but guys, like I said, that's going to be the hardest game that we run. I mean, Warzone is a AAA title. It's pretty much one of the kings as far as demanding goes right now. And the fact that we were able to play it at 1080p and maintain 60 plus FPS most of the time with minimal stutters is pretty cool for $360 on a pre-built. Let's go ahead and go to the next game. All right, guys, we were playing some Apex Legends, and we were playing Gun Run on a pretty big map that is pretty hard to run. We're at 1080p and basically low settings. There's a couple of settings that we tweaked up a little bit, so it's not like we're at the lowest of the low, but hey, getting 120 to 140 FPS most of the time, so we're actually getting basically high refresh rate, or at least close to it. Which once again, Apex Legends, you know, I did say that Call of Duty was the only AAA. Apex is technically a AAA as well, but I would argue that it runs kind of closer to like an esports title, especially at lower settings. But hey, I can't complain about this refresh rate, and honestly, it looks pretty good too. Not running the lowest settings actually still has this game very aesthetically pleasing. Oh, we did. Please stop shooting. Whoa! Ah! Oh, is that guy in the... Oh my god, they're already on knife. I think the game's over. Well, that was Apex Legends. You know, it was pretty fun. Another AAA. All right, I promise now we only have esports titles, which is really what this PC is designed for. I just thought it'd be fun to throw in some AAAs. All right, guys, we are playing the finals, and boy, does it look like the screen is full of Vaseline. We are using some upscaling right now, which I might play with the settings a little bit, but we're at 1080p. We have a frame rate limit of 175, NVIDIA DLSS on ultra performance, and as you can see, we got ray tracing set to static and all the settings on low, and yeah, it's definitely doing some upscaling to basically try to get this game playable. So it definitely is not looking the prettiest. Oh my god, and it's making me a bad shot. I swear I'm not normally a bad shot. Give me my gun back. Shit. No. Oh no, are my teammates on fire? Have I done them dirty? No! My teammates! Sledgehammer! Ah! Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I just changed the settings over to medium just to kind of, because I noticed our GPU is literally being used like 30% and our CPU still pinged at like 100. And running medium settings, we get almost no difference in how the game runs. It's still a DLSS on performance mode. So yeah, that just goes to show, guys, that it really is just in certain esports titles, not all of them, but in certain ones like this, our CPU is really what's holding us back. It is an i7, we do have the 4 cores and 8 threads, which is great, but you gotta remember even a 10th gen i3 is better than this i7. But I'm gonna leave these settings because now the game actually at least looks kind of decent. Forgot that we got turret. Oh crap. So we're turning on now, and here I am just letting the platform go. Oh, what? I thought I said 10 seconds. What? What? Apparently I don't know how to read or listen or anything, but hey, this game pretty hard to run, honestly. It was struggling. We're just using so much of that i7. So this is one of those esports titles that even if you put a great GPU in this, you get that bottleneck, the esport bottleneck. But we did play at medium settings and maintain around 60 FPS with NVIDIA DLSS set to like performance mode. So we're gonna go ahead and try one more game of Fortnite, which we know should run pretty decent, and then we'll wrap this video up. All right, guys, it is Fortnite time, everybody's favorite esport title. And we are currently running full screen 1080p, a max frame rate of 165 FPS, and we are on a custom quality preset because we're using NVIDIA DLSS on the balanced preset. We got epic view distance and everything else set to low. I think we're gonna have to load in some textures, so bear with me here. We're probably gonna have some lag off the rip, but we are playing some ranked 0 builds. Might not be the brightest build to start off with ranked 0 builds, but I think if we can just survive for maybe a minute or two, we'll start to get the FPS balancing out. But this is something we always see in Fortnite, especially on any cheaper builds. The game just kind of takes a minute to render everything in. All right, so now that we've landed, we're kind of consistently getting over 100 FPS. And now we're like, all right, yeah. We're still loading in apparently. Oh my, woo. Woo. Go, 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 go. bot-like activities. Oh my god, I think I just killed them around the corner. This guy's sitting still and I'm struggling. Oh, he took my kill. Is he using the urinal? Oh, he was, oh my, I'm bad. That shotgun apparently, what was that, 2 shots? Okay, well, anyways, that was Fortnite. Once again, another esports title. This thing, funny enough, almost, even though it's kind of like designed for esports title because of it being cheap, esports titles are just really requesting better CPUs these days. So it surprisingly did the best in something like Apex Legends and even decent Warzone, AAA titles, funny enough. But let's go ahead and do the 3D time spy, go ahead and see how that does, and then we'll go ahead and talk about the value proposition of this build. Alright guys, we just got done benchmarking this Lenovo gaming PC that was once an office PC, and I would say that overall it was pretty successful, but we're still seeing that bottleneck where we have a really nice graphics card. These 3050 low profiles with 6 gigs of GDDR6 are honestly pretty great, even with that little modification there, but that i7, because it's 6th gen, is still just kind of holding this thing back. It's a 4-core 8 thread, which is great with DDR4, but you gotta remember, something like the 10th gen i3 even is a good amount better than this i7, and we definitely saw that in esports titles. Funny enough, this thing is almost in a way better for like certain AAA titles. Like we got some pretty good results in Call of Duty Warzone and Apex Legends, but then in the finals in Fortnite, it kind of struggled and had some stutters. Now we got a 3D time spy score of 4,599, which ends up being a 7 cent per point score, which is pretty decent, but overall, I want to know what you guys in the comment section think down below. Are these PCs finally getting to a point where even at the $339 price range, is it not quite worth it and maybe you should just try to deal hunt to build a new PC, or do you think these actually still have a place in the market? And as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace out. So this PC right here will be available at PCBros.tech for a great price, and it'll likely have free shipping and everything too, with a 1-year parts and labor warranty. So if you have any problems with it at all you gotta do is reach out to us. We're here for you.
PCBros.tech. Use code TOASTYBROS2 or check out to have 2% next person.
See
See you guys later. Bye!